What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Celtics Daily. And by now, I hope you've had some time to talk to someone you care about, whether it's a loved one, a family member, or a therapist. At this point, I hope you've just had the chance to get your mind right, as the Celtics have just been off to a horrendous start to the second round series against the New York Knicks. And they are now on the precipice of not only the brink of their title defense, but honestly, of their future too. Because if they go into New York, which game three is on Saturday afternoon, and lose game three, all of the writing is on the wall. Because what we've seen of this Celtics team, I don't know you would say they've got the to come back from a 3-0 run. This feels very different than what we saw happen with Miami a couple years back. And I would say this opponent in the New York Knicks, I know a lot of the Jimmy Butler fans, the Heat culture fans would disagree, probably is a little bit more talented than that Miami team back then. So what the Celtics need to do, I think, is pretty clear. I think everybody's seen it, and it's not some like, "Ooh, we got to drop some fancy X and O plays." It's nothing like that. It's you just got to hit a freaking shot. You just got to hit a shot, and their shooting has been just horrendous, out of character. And a lot of people will give you all of these numbers about how actually the Celtics typically hit 40% of open threes and all of that stuff. Well, you know what? That's over a long period of time. That's when it's a large sample size. Those numbers look good. This is a 7-game series, okay? So when the shot's not falling, the shot's not falling. We don't have 80 more games for this to even itself out. It has to happen now, and it has to happen immediately. And so this all starts and falls on Jason Tatum. He is the best player on this Celtics team. Sure, he didn't win the Finals MVP last year. He didn't win the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, but it's clear to everyone around him that he is the best player on the team, and it has to start with him now. In that Orlando series, even though he was dinged up a little bit and battling that wrist injury, stepped up, averaging over 30 points a game throughout the entire series. And I want to give Tatum a little bit of credit because he's still bringing it on the defensive end. He's still rebounding the hell out of the ball, but he needs the ball to go into the hoop. And that's how we're breaking this down now. Just needs you to score. The most recent performance in game two of only 13 points is just not going to cut it. That's not going to beat most teams in the postseason, especially when the rest of the roster is limping around. And there's plenty of excuses out there for Boston, right? Kristaps Porzingis is dealing with something literally no one knows about. It's hard to even break it down because we don't have enough information, and it's a little scary. The fact that he's been dealing with this for months and they can't really figure out what's going on. But anyways, Porzingis, who is arguably the third best player, is limited to just like 14 fatigued minutes a game. You've got Jaylen Brown, who clearly is not 100% with the explosiveness lacking. You Drew Holiday, who actually looks okay and has missed a couple of games, but he's back. Tatum's got to be the guy, and maybe we'll find out after the postseason that his wrist injury is a little bit worse than we were led to believe when it went down. He did miss game two of that first round series, but then he came back and dropped 30 points a game in all three of those games. So like, which one is it? Are the Knicks just hitting his wrist a little bit more than Orlando was? So Tatum needs to be that guy moving forward, and he needs to assert himself immediately. And they need to see like a dominating performance. Just a reminder that this is a team that won the title last year, and I don't think we've seen that. We've seen more of a team that looks deer in the headlights when the game is on the line, and so there's two outcomes that I'd be satisfied with on Saturday. One, he goes and drops 30 and the Celtics win by 25. They get a 20-point lead, they hold it the whole way. The other one that I will take is winning in crunch time. I think the Celtics just need that mental shift. They need to see that they can succeed. And I can't believe we're saying this about a team that's won a title, but something just feels off right now with what we're watching, especially in those crunch time minutes. And again, shooting is contagious. Once you start seeing it go down, all of a sudden the rain falls down, which now it sounds like I'm quoting lyrics from like a 90s R&B song, but that's what needs to happen, and it needs to start and end with Tatum. He needs to be the guy because you can't really rely on anything else right now, which sounds crazy to say with how talented that roster is, but they need the alpha. The alpha needs to return to form, okay? He's a first team all NBA guy this season. He's had his best season of his career. We've seen him come through in the playoffs. Listen, you can't drop a Superman commercial and then get swept in the first round. And that's what's on the line right now. I also think too, like if the Celtics win game three, all of a sudden there's a little bit more pressure on New York to win game four and not go back to Boston 2-2. But I mean, listen, you don't need the historical data. If they lose game three, curtains, it's good. It's done. And that has such Like, if that happens, get ready to learn a different starting five next year. I think that's probably on the line anyways, but they're going to be just dropping a bomb on that starting rotation if that's what happens. So Tatum, we need you, buddy. We need you. The other thing we need, Drew Holiday, man. Drew Holiday was early in that first. If you go back and watch that first quarter, early in game two, Drew Holiday kept getting switched onto Brunson, and he was punishing him. He was getting buckets, punishing him. It was like clearly a thing that was working. And then we didn't see it again for the rest of the game. I saw the Knicks made an adjustment, I believe, in the second quarter where they actually switched Brunson onto Derek White, which should be good because Derek White should be able to punish Brunson as well. We didn't see that. But then they stopped going to it. And then in the third quarter, Brunson was back on Drew Holiday, and at no point did we go back to it. Drew Holiday has the ability, when he's got smaller guards, to do a little bully ball on the offensive end. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's pound him. Make Brunson work because not only is that an efficient bucket for the Celtics where they were getting points on the board, it's also making Mr. Fourth Quarter, Mr. Clutch, Clutch Man of the Year, whatever you want to call him, Jalen Brunsanity, making him work on the defensive end. And to Brunson's credit, has been playing a lot better defensively this series than he has in the regular season. But if anything, it's going to slow him down a little bit. So in crunch time, maybe he's got a little less gas in the tank because he was getting big bodied by Drew Holiday this whole time. So I would like to see a little bit more of that in game three. Because again, just take like the same thing with Mitchell Robinson that we talked about yesterday. Take like take those advantages. The advantages are there. Hammer 'em. Let's go. It's the playoffs. This is what you do. You find the weakness and you pound the weakness. Well, that's what we're missing. That's what we're missing. Right now, the weakness is us, both mentally and from the shot. And speaking of that weakness, let's look at the fourth quarter. So far, the Celtics have been outscored by, I believe, oh, this is bad. I had it in my head 22, because it was by 13 and by 9 in both fourth quarters so far. That's that's unacceptable. That sounds like it's a road game. That's what we call letting go of the rope. They have to win the fourth quarter and like convincingly. They just got to go out there and beat them for four straight quarters. But that fourth quarter, they need to see some mental toughness. No more like stop fouling Mitchell Robinson. Stop getting in your own head. Stop taking these weird threes. Just like drive to the rack. Just put pressure on them. Close them out. Close them out. I can't believe I'm saying this, but rewatching some of the Cleveland Cavs, Indiana Pacers series, you would see Donovan Mitchell just like time and time again, just go right to the rack. Like just kind of putting it on his shoulders and like let's get to the hoop, whether it goes in or not. We're going to the line. Now maybe I'm using an example of a team that's also down 2-0, that also won a ton of regular season games and is also on the brink of elimination. So maybe that was a terrible example, Mike. But I do think that is something that you were seeing from Cleveland that you're not seeing from Boston, where they're actually attacking the rim. And I think that's what you need to see, especially in the fourth quarter when the shot's not falling. That's what you have to do. Because if you thought the Boston environment was hostile, as you could hear the quietness of the Boston fans and the loudness of the Knicks fans, Madison Square Garden is going to be loud as hell. All right, you got famous people yelling. That's like a different type of yell. They've been trained. They've been trained to yell. So let's see how they're able to attack the fourth quarter and if they're able to exercise the demons, if you will, because that's the only way moving forward. And I do think like there is a path. If they win one game, they win four straight. I really do. I think they just need to mentally see that happen. But it's just been so frustrating. You can even hear it in my voice. Like I'm having a tough time talking about it because there's no like X's and O's breakdown. There's no sort of like mathematical thing we need to figure out. Is you just gotta freaking win. You gotta like freaking win the game. You gotta put the ball in the basket. You need to score more than you've been scoring. You've been again 25 out of 100 from three through two games. Right? They're just shooting like historically bad. And that one, you'd like to think that can't continue, but it's continued long enough. The Knicks only need two more wins. The Celtics need four. And what's so frustrating about it is you look around the rest of the just the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference for that matter, and the path is there for the Celtics to repeat as champions. When's the last time we saw a repeat? We saw the Golden State Warriors do it, right? When Kevin Durant was there. I think that's the last time we saw a repeat champ. And then prior to that was it the Miami Heat, and then this LeBron's Heat, and then the San Antonio Spurs, I think. Those are the last times that we saw repeat champs, and it's a really hard thing to do. Especially in this day and age with the parity that's in the league, and the second apron and the collective bargaining agreement, and how that like hampers roster construction moving forward. It makes it a lot more challenging to keep younger guys together. They have a chance to do it. And you look at the Eastern Conference, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were the scariest team in the East, now are in real trouble. They have some serious health concerns with Darius Garland missing time. Evan Mobley still questionable for game 3. And the Pacers, to their credit, are playing well, but the Cavs are definitely the scarier team, and they might be bounced. And if that happens and the Celtics do manage to get through, they now have home court advantage, which we just proved means absolutely nothing, but they would have home court advantage in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then, the Pacers have been balling, all right? They have been really, really good. I think they'd be a very challenging opponent, but the Celtics would be favored in that. The Celtics should beat the Indiana Pacers. And then you look at the Western Conference. The Thunder haven't been there before, and yes, they had a very convincing win in Game 2, but this is like their first real go-around. I think it would be a great matchup. The Thunder probably would be slight favorites there, but the Celtics, that is a beatable team. And then you look at Denver, who, like, yes, of course, they have Nikola Jokic, who's the best player in the world, but then they only have 4 other guys that can play basketball. Michael Porter Jr. can't lift his arm above his shoulder. I don't know if you saw that report. He literally needs help getting his shirt on and off. Me too, but I'm not a professional basketball player. So and then it's like a lot of Russell Westbrook. So Denver would be super beatable. And then you look at the other matchup, Anthony Edwards, who thank God is okay. I don't know how many people saw that last night. Trace Jackson Davis of the Golden State Warriors fell right on the ankle. He went down, and then he was doing some like crazy warm-ups at halftime with the band. So Ant-Man is back. He seems to be okay. But that Timberwolves team can't shoot the ball right now. And then you have the Golden State Warriors, who are without Steph Curry for at least another week. And you saw their offense last night looked like, honestly, the Celtics offense in the fourth quarter, where they couldn't get anything going. They're relying a lot on a guy named Buddy Hield. So the path is there for the Celtics to make one more run. It is. And this might be the last one they can do with this core. And we're going to find out everything we know about this team, about the heart of this team, the soul of this team, by like 4:30 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. Actually, let's be honest, it's probably like 5:30. We need to get to the fourth quarter. That's when we'll know. So I listen. I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic, but I'm also a little bit realistic. And it is a tough task to beat a team 4 times out of 5. There's no room for error now. They already gave it away. They gave it away. So this is it. This is it. And we get to see if Tatum has that next level in him. Hopefully, Porzingis again. I don't know what RFK Jr. can give him. Give him something. Give him something so that he can play those minutes. But good Lord, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, this felt both inspirational and desperate and disappointing. So that's how I feel as I'm ending this video. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in for the Celtics Daily. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe before you get out of here. And then when we're back on Monday, hopefully we're saying it's 2-1 and they've exercised the demons. Thanks for tuning in.